What's going on, everybody? This Afro think tank. Black woman says that the greater society, they're trying to get us to come outside. They're trying to get us so mad that we go out and we protest so they can have the ability to harm us. And I believe that there's a lot of truth to that, because thing is, a lot of mid, because I'm experienced, because I know a lot of these mid ones, a lot of mid-racist white people join law enforcement in order to join what they perceive is the gang, in order to fight against their ops, right? So just like you have gang members who are the weakest members of their community, that's why they join gangs. They're the weakest members of their community, because that's the only reason you would join a gang, if you're weak, right? So just like black people join gangs because they're weak, you have racist white people who also join gangs because they are weak, right? But all white gangs are inherently racist. You got all the biker gangs are racist. You got all the regular skin-haired gangs, they're racist. And you got their regular street thug hoodlum gangs, they're racist. You got their militias, those are gangs. They just organize themselves in clubs. They are racist. They're all racist, right? They got just different flavors of racism and different ways to justify their racism to say the same thing. We are white people. We're supposed to be on top. We're superior. And we have to fight against our enemies, which are everybody who can possibly compete against us and beat us if we allow them to have an even playing field, or if we allow them to have all the things that we have. Therefore, we must tip the scales in our favor. And morality has nothing to do with it, because it's the law of nature. Only the strong survive. So we have to be strong, use all the attachments we got and all the tricks that we have in order to suppress those who we deem as more superior than us. Those are racist gangs, right? And they exist, and they kill each other, actually, right? They murder each other all the time. You got your country ones. You got like these gangs, even though they're racist by baseline, they are in fact the groups that sell drugs in their communities, destroy their communities, fight each other, and have drive-by shootings and all manners of things that kill innocent people within their community. The same thing that we got going on in our communities. This is what happens in white America. 70% of white America. This is all the crime that they don't talk about. This is all the crime that doesn't make it on TV. This is all the things that white media likes to pretend doesn't happen in white community in order to say when it happens in the black community for the same reason, which is poverty and being, oppressed by the oppressor, right? And those who are weak enough to fall, for the lowest vibration of what as humans can do, they fall for it, right? But they highlight our shit. They don't highlight theirs, right? And that is the case. But it is in fact true. It's very well true that the police force and the military are also organizations. They clamor themselves in order to gain power via law enforcement. They have a badge. They have a uniform. White people in their gangs, they love wearing uniforms. They're all into patches and uniforms and shit like that. And so they have recognized that if they join law enforcement, which was the original white male gang to go rally and posse up African people who dared to run away from capitalism, which was slavery at the time, right? And of course, all men were forced to participate in the slave patrols, which ultimately became the police. So ultimately, in its inception, the thing is, white people make theirs official, so we don't look at it as violent, right? But they use these apparatuses as gangs, right? So, like, right now, black on black, they say black on black violence as if that's actually a thing, and it's not a thing. But like white on white violence is not a thing, or like yellow on yellow violence is not a thing. Like that's not like a regular thing within all societies, but somehow we got codified as black on black. So since we are the violent ones, right, even though in reality we're not, we're very patient, very calm, we're very empathetic, even though we're stronger, faster, and we fight better, and we're better warriors, and we think, and we have the ability to be excellent at any time in our brains. Even though those are all true in reality, the perception is the gangsters. Therefore, any police officer who's being trained, a white soldier, we call them white soldiers because they're trained to be racist as children. They're trained to be racist in their white communities. They purposely join law enforcement departments that are over there somewhere, because most of these people, law enforcement that they are used to are the podunk, the town sheriff. They all go to the same church. There's only 50 of them. You know what I'm saying? Everybody really truly does know everybody because they are related, cousins and shit. They don't marry each other, right? And then you get out to the cities where there's a large population. right? They want to go be police officers out there. They want to go to war into those black neighborhoods they hear about, but they want to go home back into their white neighborhoods. So every time they go on patrol, they're going to war every day, right, with their partner. And this makes them warriors, right? Because most of them couldn't get in the military because they couldn't hack it, right? They weren't physically fit, but they can fit inside one of these law enforcement departments. They'll give them a gun, a badge, and some authority to say, I'm right, you're wrong, because, the law enforcement says, or white institution says, me, I'm right, you wrong, you bad, criminal, black, right? And gives them the authority via the union and the police departments and state to kill black people, right, using plausible deniability and their leverage as being the law enforcement officer, and the black person being the quintessential always super criminal, which inherently all white people is really just a jealousy of our physical capability, and they're not trying to fight us because, especially a man, because they are afraid they're going to lose and die. Therefore, the actual fright is real. Right, but that's why I believe that if they have that, they shouldn't be allowed to be in law enforcement, because they're not brave enough to be law enforcement. Because you have to be brave to be law enforcement, right? And military. If you're scared, you shouldn't be allowed to have a gun because you can't make decisions, right? But for sure, they wish that we would get out here. They're doing everything they can. Even the media. The media is doing everything they can to highlight every single murder, to highlight every single injustice. And don't think it's not happening like on a mass scale. Like the stuff that we see on media is just a small pinprick of water, all right, on a white piece of paper, of data, of the crimes that's happening on a daily basis. To be honest, every day, if there was a channel or if there was dedicated networks to post every single crime, every single day, by every single demographic, in every single state and county and municipality, black folks would barely be on the register. We wouldn't be the superstars. We wouldn't be the #1 attraction, for sure. And as a matter of fact, things will look more clear when you see in Asian communities how Asian communities in America do exactly the same thing on their economic level. Well, white people do the same thing on every economic level, and black people do the same thing on every economic level, and Latinos do the same thing on every economic level. Like everybody, Indians do the same thing on every economic level. Like everybody does the same shit, right? But we're highlighted for a reason, because we are the true threat in real life, right? So you got the Latinos, they're attacking they got no respect. White society has zero respect for Latinos. They're not afraid of them. This is their land, right? They convince Indians that they're some kind of special Latino speaking thing, right? They call themselves mestizos, Mexican, this and that, everything but who they are. They don't even speak their own language, most of them, right? And they think, like, what the fuck is a Mexican? It's a conquistador slave is what the hell a Mexican is, right? It's a conquistador's slave. That's what it is, right? They're not even who they're supposed to be, right? So they get no respect. Asians, white people have never respected Asians. I don't even know what's wrong with Asians for thinking that I don't know. It's because the way their societies are structured. They're just oblivious, right? To me, they're completely and totally oblivious to the parallels of white folks, and they're oblivious, right? And it shows, because they make the stupidest decisions, right? But white people are not afraid of them. They don't need to shoot no Asian. White people are not even physically threatened by Asians. That martial arts shit, all that martial arts shit is fake. All the kung fu, all the ninjas, the samurais were sex slaves, all right, who had to defend their master, right? And they had a sword, but they used, staffs most of the time. They were sex slaves, but they got amped up. Ninjas never existed. Ninjas was just a farmer who picked up a weapon of opportunity, which was something like a hoe or something he used a farm to protect himself from the Imperial Army. They're like, all that shit's fake, so they're not afraid of any of those Asian people, right? None of that martial arts shit works, right? It's all bullshit, right? No monk, all that shit's bullshit. They're not afraid of them, right? But who they are afraid of is us, because everything about us is true. Every story, every death-defying story of some white person who went to Africa and found out it was not that easy to come and take our shit. As a matter of fact, just like they got the black people to defeat the Native Americans to take their shit because they couldn't do it, it was other Africans who were given guns who were just previously being disenfranchised by another kingdom, which was their ops at the time, because nobody knew what being black was, because it wasn't a thing until it was invented a couple hundred years later. We were all just people who happened to be the same color, but we weren't the same people, right? That's a concept you guys ain't picking up. You see, they couldn't, it wasn't that easy. They got horror stories about going to Africa. You know how many mid white dudes had to sacrifice their lives so just so a couple of them rich ass fat white dudes can have some slaves, can have some sex slaves. The Epstein class list that still live on to this day. Yeah. So yeah, they would love to get us out on the street, right? We that dragon. They want to get us out on the street. They are trying to piss us off because all they need is for us to get on the street, and they're gonna bring out every one of those piece of surplus military equipment that them police officers bought, you know, when Donald Trump let them have all that shit like they needed it. They're gonna bust out all the goddamn smoke grenade guns. They're gonna have live ammo packed on their vest. Because they know one or two of them white boys that's been scared. They've been looking. They ain't never met a black person in their whole goddamn life. Coming from Kentucky because he's a federal officer, standing in front of 6'4", pissed off black man. He gonna pull that gun. He gonna shoot, and then he got one. Cause you see how they celebrate all their white boys, all their white terrorists that get one. You see how they get praised and shit. You see they go to conferences and they go to meetings and they get interviews. They get used up by the capitalistic system of racism. On the white side of town, they become mascots for white male and their power, you know, just because they happen to put themselves in a situation where they had to use deadly force, because white people tend to walk towards danger. They create the danger, walk towards it, and sometimes get themselves killed, no matter if they're liberal or progressive or whatever. So, you know, they trying to get us to come out because they know that there's some lone wolves within their communities that will surely take the opportunity. But the thing is, we're not. Why? Because black folks, we're gonna do our own thing. We're gonna keep on living, being excellent. We're gonna keep having a good ass time, which pisses you off. Y'all hate the fact that through all this shit, we still making jokes and shit. We still having a good time. We still talking about gossip and shit like shit ain't serious going on. Because we know how to cope, and we know that we're gonna survive because we know we're strong enough to survive, and we're not stupid. As much as you stupid people were taught that we were stupid, so that you can feel that way, so that can be the narrative online and social media. In the real world, we're not stupid. That's why we went from 12 million enslaved Africans to 55 plus million very successful African Americans. Despite every single institution you ever try to create to tear us down. But despite every time we tried to build and mind our own black ass business, y'all couldn't mind y'all white ass business, and y'all came and burnt down our black excellence. No matter how many times you get a buffer class and give them empowerment in order to cause a conflict, you still can't stop us, and you still can't stop us from achieving the things that we want to achieve. No matter how slow it takes us, because you don't allow the institutions that you use and you allow reluctantly your POCs to use to get ahead of us economically, because you don't allow us to use it, you think that we're not going to thrive. It may take us a little longer, but we're going to get there. But we are getting smarter because we always adapt, and we adapt to your ignorance no matter how advanced it gets. Therefore, when we see you trying to coerce us outside to go do a rally, to go protest so that you can sick your dogs on us, so you can stick your hoses, so you can have one of your lone wolf police officers accidentally pull the trigger on a live magazine he didn't know was live. Yeah, we're gonna stay in the house. We're gonna watch the game. We're gonna play video games. We're gonna grow food in our backyards because we got time, right? And we're gonna figure out how we're gonna, what we're gonna do tomorrow. We're gonna figure out what we're wearing tomorrow. We're going to figure out what we're eating on tomorrow. That's what we're going to do because we know it pisses you off. Because all we got to do is stay black and mind our own business, and that's all it takes to defeat white supremacy. It's all it takes to defeat all of the tricks that you guys have manifested over the last 500-600 years of your, world dominating. All we got to do is not do anything. Imagine if we try. We ain't even got to do shit and we still win. Imagine if we got up and started walking towards you motherfuckers. Then what? Whew! It would go a lot faster. And you're lucky we not like you. So, yeah, this woman, she's on point. I agree with everything she got to say. And I think a lot of us black folks are feeling it. And that's why we're not going outside. We're not bullshitting with y'all POCs. We boycotting you, and sometimes we got to slow fade you. These boycotts that we've been doing are slow fade boycotts. And when we slow fade, that's permanent. Because these are not just temporary shits because we are pissed off. We're pissed off a bit. We're tired of being pissed off. We have pissed off fatigue. We're done with that shit. Yeah, we're going to let you guys be mad. We're going to let you reap the results of the things that you guys do to us because we're tired of being disrespected, and we're taking our respect back. So, yeah, I agree with this woman. Anyway, you tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Somebody said that the snow roaches have been antagonizing us because not only are they not used to black people resting, but they want to use it as a way to get us to act out so that they can harm us. And as I'm thinking about President Lamar's performance and how they are sitting on the internet right now responding, I don't believe that's actually what it is anymore. In my humble opinion, I feel that when we lost the election, they seen how we responded and they seen us feel completely defeated. And they took it upon themselves to take advantage of that and to stomp us down 6, 7, 8 feet more further. Because if you keep stomping and kicking a person when they're down, they won't have the ability ever really to get back up. So then what did they started to do? They started with the rollback of our civil rights, of what our ancestors fought for. That irritated and aggravated us. But then we realized it's not benefiting us half as much as it benefits other people. But they already knew that. So then this is when they had to change the perception of DEI to everything black. Anything and everything black or whatever position that we had was considered DEI. They turned our terms woke and DEI into a slur. Then what do? They take away Black History Month on the federal level. They take away back Juneteenth on the federal level. Then they release these mysterious FBI documents revealing the truth about one of our good, great, beloved leaders, somebody who they teach about in history, Martin Luther King Jr. The removal of CRT, these, monster groups all of a sudden popping up in predominantly black neighborhoods with certain flags, irritating us. And then what do kind of to top it all off? They start shadow banning Hillman TikTok when Hillman TikTok gets notoriety. They think that they find some of the most influential people in our community, some beloved treasures, and they convince them to put on a minstrel show for them, irritating us more. These people thought that our silence was us being completely wiped out, drained, and now being complicit with the system. What they did not expect was that we had a real beloved, respected influencer in the community. And what they did not expect was for him to come out on their stage and not only make them feel uncomfortable, but to hit a reset button. When that man left that stage and finished that performance, they knew that the reset button was hit and that black people were going to feel empowered to get up. And now they are in fear and now they are concerned. Because Cat Williams told us this last year, they will convince you that the answers is over there, but the answers is within here in our space the entire time. And they're leaning over, getting it, trying to convince you that you are not who you are. And this is why the jigaboos getting up here trying to agree and coincide with the thoughts of them while they are again playing a mind game on you and trying to tell you that this was not real entertainment, that this was boring, that this is all these negative things, is pissing me off. Because for one, your short attention span or your lack of patience to hear a story only indicates the low literacy rates that we're experiencing in this country. That's one. Two, you center them alabaster cheese curds entertainment way too much. Hip-hop rap was once a powerful tool to not only entertain and do a little bop to, but it was to pass a message and to be an empowering platform. And this is why the Mayo monsters are pissed. They did not expect for us to not only accept to take our culture back and to receive it from somebody like Kendrick Lamar, but to respond so positively and kind. Pay attention that for a while now, that they have been diluting what rap and hip hop is with people like Drake and Iggy Azalea and Eminem, Macklemore, and all these other people, which is exactly correlating to what Kendrick has been saying this entire time. He only used one of their biggest puppets to do it, to make that statement in front of you. And with the combination of Kendrick Lamar's performance, as well as with Beyonce's country album, these people are not only telling you to make a statement, but they're giving you a level of history to pay attention to so that you can strategize and activate. And one of the biggest fears that the Saltines have is black people gatekeeping. Because when black people gatekeep, it ruins everything. Nothing that they do will matter, because pay attention to what they're trying to do right now. The next thing that they're trying to do is dismantle the Department of Education. Why do you think that they need to dismantle the Department of Education? Not only do they want to make education a privilege, but they need to stop something in their tracks. Black pride. You can't have pride in a history that you are not aware of. This country's influential power comes from a multitude of things, two of them being culture and economics. And when you pay attention to how America grew its wealth, then you will realize that America grew its wealth from agriculture, cotton, tobacco, sugar, I believe rice. The cash profits from this agriculture was used to invest in the industrialization of this country and the westward expansion. So that means for how many hundreds of years, this country benefited off of the millions and millions of unpaid, dehumanizing labor from black people. That means black people built the wealth of this country. When you look at culture, Hollywood has the biggest impact on global pop culture. America has one of the largest music systems of revenue, or whatever you call it, out here. And when you look at American music, people all over the world come over to be a part of the music scene in America. And what is American music? What are the genres that are always used? Hip hop, rap, R&B, country, rock and roll, jazz, gospel. Who created all of those? Black people. Even in Hollywood cinema, black Hollywood cinema made so much money in a statement originally that Hollywood began to take notice. And then after World War II, they decided that they wanted shares in the early black cinema profits. So that's when they started to hire black actors and actresses. Pay attention to what is happening. If everybody starts knowing this history and they start looking into this information and they pass this information on to their children, as we are continuing to do through things like Him and TikTok, through influential voices like Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar gets on that stage and tells you, gatekeep, discrimination is legal now, do what you need to do. Who has access to who after a while? Where does the transfer of power go when black people revoke your card to come into your space, into our spaces? Where is their identity? They are having an existential crisis on the internet right now. It is embarrassing, because they have been trying to convince you that you are not the very cloth of America, that you are not American, that you hold no value in America. They've demonized everything that you've created because they secretly have been stealing it and profiting off of it. That's something that this country is founded on. And when black people gatekeep, black people stop allowing them to place these vultures in front of us. We stop putting them on a pedestal. We stop giving them success. We start putting our money towards the people that we want to put them on. We stop giving them access. We stop being their educators. And what do they have left? Nothing.
I just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear. And it is an honor, actually, that they endorsed Dr. Martin Luther King and were against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's actually an honor.
The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. That if the white man will do whatever is necessary to see that his woman gets respect and protection, then you and I will never be recognized as men until we stand up like men. Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself who taught you to hate being what God gave you.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.